when the Supreme Court gets involved in a dispute of these stakes, of this significance, a dispute that is so politically charged, there's a tremendous but totally foreseeable danger to the court that the losers of the court's decision will view the court as having acted illegitimately, as having acted out of partisan motivations, because it actually prefers one outcome versus the other outcome. I'm sure the court would prefer to stay out of these questions. But I think the fact that you now have, two state systems that have reached the conclusion that he should be disqualified from the ballot, it makes it hard to see the court, being able to stay out and not provide an ultimate answer to that question. The president and the Colorado Republican Party have filed petitions with the U.S. Supreme Court asking them to review and overturn the decision of the Colorado Supreme Court that President Trump cannot be on the ballot. The plaintiffs who won the litigation in Colorado have also urged the Supreme Court that it ought to hear this case. And so there's a kind of a recognition, which you don't often have from both sides, that there's a need for the Supreme Court to weigh in on this issue. I do expect the Supreme Court to agree to hear the case. I expect the court to hear it on a very expedited, very quick schedule, and to issue an opinion fairly quickly after hearing the case. As a part of the 14th Amendment, Congress held that anyone who had taken an oath to the United States, to the US Constitution, who subsequently engaged in insurrection against the United States was disqualified from holding future federal or state office. This is a provision that was, put in as part of the post-Civil War kind of Reconstruction era. Clearly designed to, prohibit ex-Confederates from occupying positions in the federal government or state governments. There's a debate about whether Congress has to pass a statute to put this provision of the Constitution into effect. After the Civil War, Congress did do that, but it eventually repealed the statute. So there is no statute right now on the books from Congress authorizing, let's say, the Attorney General or the US attorneys to go into court and enforce this provision. So that's one question. Another question is whether this provision even covers the president at all. It's drafted in kind of somewhat surprising language that doesn't mention the president specifically as an institution. It does mention senators and representatives and presidential electors, all of whom are explicitly disqualified, but it doesn't mention the president by title. Then, assuming you get past those procedural hurdles, the underlying substantive questions, or the questions on the merits, are, first of all, was January 6th an insurrection against the United States within the meaning of this constitutional provision. And then secondly, whether former President Trump engaged in that insurrection by various things he did, including the speech he made on the Mall on January 6th, and including his inaction once he was back in the White House over several hours once the Capitol had been breached and it was sort of clear what was going on.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.